Seeing this case at Computex this year, I was thinking, why don't they just use the top panel and the mesh panel to place it on the original O11 Vision and be done with it? Because I thought the compact name was for something else, but no, actually it's not. This is Lian O11 Vision Compact, which comes with two varieties, three possibilities, and I'm saying three possibilities, they didn't mention that. But what you can do is you have three sides of tempered glass. You have a possibility to place this, right? Okay, you have this possibility with mesh top part, and you have a pole right here, bar, that holds the top part. But honestly, you can go with or without it when you place the fans. So that's why I mentioned three possibilities. But I honestly like this version, even though I'm sacrificing a couple of degrees in this scenario, but I'm loving this version. So what's it all about with O11 Vision Compact? It's compact. And when I say compact, it's smaller than the original O11 Vision. And loads of stuff come in play with this scenario, but also it's kind of cool. So first and most important thing that they did is swappable top panel. Then we have back connect BTF ATX motherboard support, easier to display support for the rear pass-through of the AIO. So this means that you can reroute the tubing at the back if you already have any of their AIOs and you still want to hide the tubing, so you don't have to buy the hydro shift. You can go with this and reroute the tubing at the top, looking quite nice and clean, I do have to say. So they did something again quite interesting. Then when we're talking about the dimensions, so O11 Vision is 480 times 304 times 464.5 millimeters, which equals 67.8 liters. O11 Vision Compact is 447.5, 287.5, 446.4, which equals 57.4 liters. That's 10 liters in volume lower than the original O11 Vision, which is quite outstanding. Well, basically, to be precise, 10.4, but I'm just circling the numbers. So with the possibility of placing the mesh panel and the bracket for the top fans and even the radiators, you can actually combine quite loads of stuff. So what you can do is you can place a 360 radiator, you can place three 120mm fans. Let's be honest, in this scenario, you have a better intake on the AIO, which collects cold air, and you have loads of exhaust without heat passing through the radiator. So this scenario is better what I did with the intake on the side through the radiator. And then you just swap the top part, which comes to another point. You have loads of space here. So I've seen loads of stuff going on in that compartment. You could, I don't know, squeeze an LCD screen at the top, even though you have the fans, you have the AIO with the LCD, why add more? But this is an empty space that you can fill up with whatever you think of. So yeah, bear that in mind. So as on O11 Vision Standard Edition, you have the magnetic corner here that aligns perfectly the triangle connection of those three tempered glass panels, where the magnets are rated at 35 kilos of force to ensure strong support. So this is really cool because it actually pulls the tempered glass quite nicely and keeps it stable. So in this configuration where we have a tempered glass on top, you can go up to 8 fans. But if we go with a mesh top with a bracket, you can go up to 11 fans, giving you a possibility to place two 120 at the rear. You can go 140, three 120 at the bottom. You can go 140, three 120 on the side. Again, you can go with 140 and three on the top. So the idea for the case is to make it look ultra clean, right? So they changed the axis for the EPS cable. You don't have that much holes here at the top directly specifically for the EPS cable. You have the opening with rubber grommets for the AIO, for the tubes, and you have different rubber grommets on the side as well to be able to reroute everything. There's another hole right here for the rear fans and for the top fans if you decide to put them instead of a tempered glass. So you can kind of reroute literally everything. And the cool thing, they have a rubber grommet here at the back. If you actually decide to place an IPS panel at the top display or whatever, you can easily reroute the cable here at the back and connect it. There's one more thing that actually helps with the cable management at the back. You have two standoffs right here near the power supply, which help rearranging the cable, looking it nice and tidy directly to the GPU from the IPS display, and that's outstanding. So basically they went with the compact version in terms of nice and clean design when we're talking about the cable management. The groundments and AO tube pass-through, it's really well crafted because at the back side we have a nice opening for the tubing, while this rubber groundment, you first have to detach the rubber to actually place the tubes through it and then reorganize everything else. When we're talking about mounting possibilities, it's easy to remove the bottom plate because you have to remove 2 screws and take it out. The top plate, as you already noticed, it's covered with more screws, it's held by more screws, but you can still easily remove it. And even the side panel, you have to remove 2 thumb screws to get the access to remove the side panel, which gives you more options for outer placement of radiator and the fans. So since I'm at that point, let's go with fan support and water cooling. At the top you can go with 2140 or 3120 fans, 280 or 360 radiator with 98mm of thickness. At the back 2120. On the side 3120mm fans or 360 radiator, and at the bottom 3120mm fans or 360 radiator. If the glass is on top, this was in mesh mode. In glass, if glass was on top, 2120 at the back, 3120 on the side with the radiator 360, and 3120 at the bottom with the radiator 360. As I stated when we were talking about the position of the radiator and stuff like that. So this is intake, that is intake as well. This is exhaust in tempered glass mode. When you place this panel on top, this is also exhaust. So in that configuration, we have intake on the side, we have intake at the bottom, exhaust here and exhaust at the top. This kind of creates, from this bottom part, a chimney effect, but I don't think that's air is collected nicely from the GPU, because in scenarios where I'm going to touch base with benchmarks, I'm going to let you know how this GPU actually runs quite nicely with the bottom fans so close and basically collecting air from them. So the side intake, as I stated, 2 thumb screws that need to be removed, which is reversible, and in standard installation you have 36mm of clearance to the bottom fans, and if you revert it, you have 110mm in reverse installation to the bottom fans, which gives you a possibility to mount push-pull combination on their radiator. So another cool feature which they didn't have, it's an anti-sag bracket, which supports graphic cards that are longer than 278mm and up to 480mm. So you can adjust it at the back with the thumb screws. The only thing that you need to take care of is the rubber grommet, which basically it's in the way. So you have to push your finger through the rubber grommet to give access, and that's it. It's not a big deal. It's not a problem. I'm just saying so you don't get worried. Why isn't it moving? The ease of access on everything, literally, when we're talking about dust filters and cleaning up. At the top, if you go with the top fan configuration, you have a fine mesh, so you don't need a dust filter, as well as at the back. And at the bottom, we have a dust filter covering the whole bottom part, actually. So it's quite nice, and as you can see, quite easily removable and placed. The only thing that I would suggest, if you're carrying this case from your table to another table or doing whatever, if you're cleaning, don't place your hand here, because if you pull it out, this will happen. So this is just a precaution so you don't break your PC. Nothing specifically with Lian Li, just giving you heads up what to do. For the front I/O panel, what we have is one microphone audio combo jack. We have one USB 3.2 generation 2x2 20 gigabits type C, and we have 2 USB 3.0 ports, while the power on button is located as any other O11 case. Now it's time to discuss some storage. We have 2 brackets beneath the power supply that can accommodate 2 3.5-inch hard drives or 2 2.5-inch SSDs, and that flappy side that covers the cables can accommodate 2 2.5-inch SSDs, which is also removable. You just have to place it upwards to get more access to the cable management, and then you just place it back. The cool thing is you have 2 dual layer cable clips, and you have 6 additional Velcro straps, which gives you a possibility to nicely reorganize the cables, time up, and that's it. The power supply has been extended at the back for 15mm, which gives you more, let's say, inner space, but it's not that drastical and ugly looking at the back. And when we're talking about the power supply in general, if you go with their Edge power supply, it really doesn't matter. It fits perfectly inside, so you don't have to worry about anything. We have two color options, and we're talking about black and white, and the MSRP is $120. So I do have to say, taking into consideration that you can have two cases, well, not literally two cases, but two varieties of cases. If you want to go with more airflow, you go with the top mesh. If you want to go more with style, lifestyle and design, and you know what I'm trying to say, vision, you can go with 120. You can go with tempered glass at the top, which give you nice viewable angles of your PC build, so you can enjoy it at any time. Now, when we're talking about benchmarks, and this is where I'll wrap it up. So when tempered glass is on top, we have temperatures on the CPU. We're having AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D paired up with RTX 4080 Super Gaming X Slim. CPU went up to 81 degrees with clock speed 4850 MHz and GPU 66 degrees. With the mesh top, CPU went up to 80, clock speed is the same 4850 MHz, and GPU went a bit lower with 65 degrees. I think with the GPU, because the top fans take out the heat from the top, and basically it makes sense because the hot air rises, and from the GPU, from this top, it rises up, but it doesn't have anywhere to go except for the back. So when you take into consideration that you take three fans on top and they pull additional air from the chassis, quite logical. It doesn't stay there, but it's not drastical, you know, 1 degree, it's not drastical, but it does help a bit. And of course for the CPU as well. Then we go with Cinebench. Cinebench for the tempered glass top panel from 80 to 81 degrees and clock speed going from 4975 to 5000. With the Cinebench scores, 26,371 was the first one. It ended up at 26,414. Some average, I would say 26,330 maybe, something like that, which is outstanding again. And then we go with the mesh top. Now, 78 to 79, even touching 80 degrees, which is quite interesting because these fans really did pick up loads of heat, obviously. Clock speed once touched 4975, but mainly is 5000 to 5025 MHz clock speed. And the Cinebench score is also greater, but not marginally greater, like huge difference. We're having like 50 to 100 Cinebench points difference and more stability, because it starts at 26,392, ends at 26,389 with an average of 26,370, something like that. So all in all, what I can say, if you want more airflow, you go with this. Better thermals, definitely, without a doubt. If you want to go with visual style vision, you go with tempered glass. It's more compact, it looks quite nice, it doesn't have empty space around the fans because it's quite nicely aligned, everything all together. And I'm actually really digging this. I'm actually really loving only having the possibility with 120, because if somebody wants to go with 140 and they want a mesh top, you'll go with O11 Evo XL or RGB. It doesn't matter which one you want, it all depends on the size, right? But if you want to go with 140 and still have the vision, you're just gonna go with vision. So it's not a brainer, it's really straightforward with that. The cool thing is, I'm loving that you can place immediately 120 at the back, because you don't have to switch the motherboard or do any crazy stuff with removing the panel, and it's more fixed. The case is more fixed compared to other O11s that were more modular and possibility to switch everything up. Definitely, again, PC Crazy approved badge without a doubt, because I'm digging the design, I'm digging the cable management at the back, the access to the fans, mounting the radiators, visual aspect in general, and the possibility to swap top panel if you desire to do so, and you can manage the build as ever you wish. So yeah, the link is in the description for the O11 Vision Compact Black, White, Unifan TL and TL LCD, reversed regular, and the Galahad 2 LCD 360. So you can check out, pair out, oh yeah, I forgot, Lian Edge 1000 watts Platinum. So you can combine everything all together, create similar build, or just go wild and do something that you think is best for you. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell. See you soon in another one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.